Yeah, let's wait for 1 2 minutes. I mean, there were some new guys. Maybe they didn't know that to rejoin. Maybe. Let me just message them and see. Okay, got it. All right, so if you want to have a rating, not a single value, but you want multiple values there, okay? You can do condition in. In means you're saying anything in these values, bunch of values, okay? So I'm saying give me movies that are parental guidance or G rating or any of that, okay? So when I run this query, okay? So I'm going to see all movies that are less than 60 minutes in time. And I'm also going to see rating, which is G or PG or any of that, okay? So just to reiterate, you can do select. Select can get you the data. And here I'm saying, give me all the columns from this table. And the condition is that I don't want all the records, but I want records that are less than 60 minutes. And rating is parental guidance or G, okay? So that is what I'm saying. And yeah, so anytime you use a where condition, that's going to filter the records, okay? All right. Any questions so far? Okay. If you guys have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can put it in the chat window also. Anything is fine. All right. So this is a simple select statement. Okay. Now you have where conditions and all that. Okay. Now I don't want all the columns here. I just want the movie name. Okay. Movie name is title. Okay. So I'm going to say select title and this. Okay. All right. So that will give me only the title column. Okay. So you can do mix and match anything. You can do count star that we did before, and it's going to give me all the count, or in the sense, it will tell me how many movies are less than 60 minutes and rating PG or G. Okay. All right, there are 47 movies. Okay. You can do maximum any of those criteria. Okay. All right. Now the film table has only information about the movie. Okay. It has information saying what is the title name, what is the description, what is the release year, and all that stuff. But there should be another table called film_actor. Okay? And this table has what is the movie and who is the actor in the movie. Okay, so you can see there is something called as film ID. This film ID is just an identifier that identifies this record. Okay, so if I go to the film_actor, okay, before I go to film_actor, there's another table called actor table. Okay, so let's start from actor. Okay, and if I select from that table, you're going to see a bunch of actors. Yeah, so you have Penelope, Guinness. So these are all, by the way, just fake data. It's not real movie stars or anything. So yeah, these are all the movie actors. And you're going to see actor ID. Okay, so this is just an identifier that the database assigns. But yeah, so Matthew or Grace Mostel is actor ID 7 and all that. Okay, and then there's a last update date time. That means when the record is inserted into the database. Okay, so that was this time and so on. Okay, all right. And if you look at the film_actor table, now this has a mapping between an actor table and a film table. Okay, the film ID, remember, that maps to the film. So using the film ID, I can get the film information. Using the actor ID information, I can get the actor information. Okay, so let me run this one more time. So actor ID 1 is Penelope Guinness. Okay. And if I go to film underscore actor, Penelope Guinness acted in all these movies, okay? Film ID 1, 23, and all this. If I want to find the information about film ID 1, I could use this. Okay, so I'm using a where condition and I'm saying, give me the information about the movie, which is film ID equal to 1, okay? And that tells me that Penelope Guinness acted in this movie, which is, okay, Academy Dinosaur. Okay, so this is, yeah, as the name says, it's some dinosaur movie and all that, okay? So that actor ID 1 acted in film ID 1, and the film information is this, okay? But instead of me going back and forth between different tables, I can do something like a join. Join means I'm taking different tables and I'm saying, can you join these tables and give me corresponding information and all that, okay? So let me join two tables here, which is, okay, there's a language table, okay? So let's go with language first, okay? Okay, so you have a language ID. Okay, so you have a language ID and there's a language name, okay? So these are all the languages that are there, okay? But if I go back to the movie thing, so let's start from film, or let's do this. Where is the language? Here. So you're going to see that language ID 1, okay? It doesn't say what is the language here. It just has an identifier, and the identifier, if you want to find out more information about the language, you have to go to the language table and get the corresponding information from the language table, okay? So this is a common thing that in the database, you don't put all the information in a single table. You have multiple tables. If you want to find more information about the language, go to the language table. If you want to find more information about the actor, go to the actor table and all that, okay? Now, for every movie, this identifier doesn't make sense. So what I want is, I want the title and the language name, okay? What is the language that this movie is in, okay? So for that, I have a column called name, okay? So I'm going to say name from film, join with language table, okay? And here I'm saying language.id, what is it? Language ID equal to film.language ID. Okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm going to the language table, I'm going to a film table, and I'm saying join these two tables. Let me do this actually. And the join condition should be such that the film's language ID has to match with the language ID. Okay. So when I run this query, you're going to see there are two columns that are in the output. Okay. So the movie name and what is the language the movie is in. Okay. So what's happening here is that I'm joining these two tables. And I'm saying the join condition is the language of the movie should be the language ID in the language table. Okay. You know, let me just do star here. Star means get me all the records. Okay. So I got the movie information. So all the columns are regarding the movie. And at the very end, you're going to see columns of the language. Okay. So you have the movie name and the corresponding language. Movie name, corresponding language, and all that. Okay. And what I did is I don't want all the columns. I said, just give me this column, which is the title column, and give me this column, which is the name column. Okay. So that's what I did here. I did select title and name from this, the whole bunch of columns. And that gives me only those two columns. Okay. So join, think of join as you have two different tables and you're joining those two tables, getting some information from one table, some other information from a different table, and then you are outputting the value. Okay. So that's join here. All right, any questions so far? Okay. Now going back to this table, which is film underscore actor. So that table has just the identifiers. It says this actor has acted in these movies. Okay. So if you look at it, this number 2 actor acted in these movies, but it doesn't have other information like the actor name and all that. But if I go to the actor table, I have the name of the actor and the actor ID. Okay. So if I want to get who is the actor in a given film or the information about the movie, actor information, everything, I have to do a join here. So I'm going to do a join. Let me paste this here. Yeah. So I pasted that queries in the Zoom chat. If you guys want to try it out in the meanwhile, you can try it. Okay, so I'm doing a join from film and join with film underscore actor. And the join condition is film dot film ID equal film actor dot film ID. So here the identifier should match. Okay. Let me run this real quick. Okay. So now I have a film information, and then I have the actor information, which is just the actor ID. And this information is coming from this table, actor table, film underscore actor table. Okay. But I still don't have the name of the actor. Okay. Okay. All right. So still don't have. Okay. I still don't have the name of the actor information here. So to get the name of the actor, I have to join with another table, which is actor table. So I'm going to join with actor table. And the join condition is actors actor ID equal to film underscore actor dot actor ID. Okay. So here I'm joining 3 tables, not 2 tables. From film table, I'm joining with film underscore actor. By joining, I got the actor ID, and using the actor ID, I'm going to the actor table and I'm saying, give me the information about the actor. Okay. So now when I run this query, it says this movie. Right. Okay, this is the actor ID. And this is the name of the actor. Okay. Now, I don't want all the columns. I just want the name of the movie and the actor name. Okay, that's it. I don't care about all the rest of the information. All right, so that tells me that this movie, Academy Dinosaur, Penelope Guinness acted in that. Okay, Anaconda and so on. This actor acted in there and so on. Okay. Now, I don't want all the information about all the movies. I just want this movie, Academy Dinosaur. Okay, so I can say where title equal to Okay? So here, remember the where condition says, I want to filter even further. Okay? So it tells me that in this movie, Academy Dinosaur, who are all the actors and all that. Okay, so let's look for that. Okay, so in this movie, all these people acted there. Okay, Penelope Guinness, Christian Gable, and all these people acted in this movie. Okay, so that's how you would go to the database and you would get the values and all that. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, cool. So this is what we are doing and so on. Okay, so you can see that I'm typing the name film every time, film underscore actor every time and so on. So there's a shortcut notation. So instead of typing all that, I can just say F, and film underscore actor, I can say FA. And instead of typing the whole thing film, I'm just going to say F. And here I'm just going to say FA. And for actor, I'm going to say A. So it's less typing. Instead of me typing a bunch of things, I can just do that. And this is f.title, film.title. Okay. So you can have shortcut notations here. The shortcut notation here is that for film, I'm going to call it F, film underscore actor FA, and all that. Okay. So if I run that, I still get the same information. It's just that I'm using some shortcuts here. So imagine you're logging into Netflix and you're searching for maybe Academy Dinosaur, and you want to find out who are all the actors in that movie. Okay. This is the select statement that is run behind the scenes. Okay. Or let's say you want to find out all the movies this person acted, Penelope Guinness. Okay. So you can say the actor first name. Penelope. You can also put last name equal to Guinness. Okay. So I'm just going to run this for now. Okay. So these are all the movies that this person has acted in. Okay. So if you go to Netflix and if you search for Brad Pitt or whatever the movie actor name is, you're going to get a list of movies, right? So behind the scenes, something along these lines that it's going to look up in the actor table, it's going to look up in the film table, it's going to do the join, and it's going to give you the data, and it's going to show you all the movies. Okay. But any questions so far? Okay, so now we know how to get the information. We know how to run select statements, where clauses, join statements, and all this. Okay. Now let's use Python and let's connect to the database and let's try to get the data. Now what we're going to look at is we're going to launch Python editor. And from Python, we're going to do the same thing that we did here. Okay. I mean, what we did here is interactive. That means you are running the query, you are getting the data and all that. But we'll do programmatically. We'll go to Python. Using Python, we'll get this data. Okay. And yeah, but if you guys understand these queries, I think you understand 60% or 70% of the database concepts. Okay. The joins are very important. There are other type of joins. There is an inner join, there is an outer join and all that. I'm going to come back at a later point in time. But these are the very basics. Joins using functions like count, max, min. You can also do average. There are a bunch of other functions, but yeah, you can run functions and all those things. Okay. All right, so let's go to our editor, our favorite editor, Python. So even though I'm talking in Python, the logic would be same for Java or any other language. Okay. So for those guys who don't have Python, I would say install Python community version. So just go to your favorite search engine, insert PyCharm download, and install the community version. Okay, so this professional version is free for 30 days. After 30 days, you won't be able to use it. But community version is free, and yeah, it's the feature wise, it's pretty much the same features. There might be a couple of more features in the professional, but community is good enough for us. Okay? So download the community version and you should be able to use it. Okay? All right, guys. I'm going to open up a new file. Okay, so I created a new file here, Postgres_demo. But the file name should not matter. You can create any file you want, name of the file, anything you want. Okay, so I pasted these queries in the chat window, Zoom chat. If you guys want to copy paste and run this practice, that's fine. You can do that too. All right. Okay, all right. So here, before we proceed, we have to install some drivers. Every database has some connectors and all those things. Okay, so let's install some drivers and we should be able to use it afterwards. Okay, so go to File, Settings in PyCharm. And under project, Python project, you should see an interpreter. Okay. If you don't see that, just search for interpreter and you'll see Python interpreter. Okay, so click on that. And once you have this, click on the plus sign, the small plus sign that you'll see here. That's to install or add more packages. So click on that and you'll see a window like this. Put this weird name, PSYCOP G2, PsyCop G2, which is the PostgresSQL database for Python connecting to database environment. Okay. Interesting. I don't see that. Okay. Yeah, PSYCOPG2. That is what I was looking at. PSY. Okay, there you go. I think I have to put the whole name. Okay. Or maybe it was there already. Okay. So put this name. I'm going to put in the Zoom chat. And click on Install Package. So this will install the drivers for Python to connect to PostgresSQL. Okay. So one more time, go to File, Settings. In the settings, look for Interpreter. In the interpreter, click on this plus sign and put that PSYCOP G2. Okay, so that's the name of the library that lets you connect to Postgres from Python. Okay, and then click on Install Package. Okay, so it's installed for me. It shows up as a small pop-up here. So I'm going to give you 1 or 2 minutes to install that. In the meanwhile, if anyone has questions, you can ask me. Okay. Progress. So once you install that, if you run this import statement, you should be able to get the library. Okay, so put this import statement. You should not see a red underline or anything like that. If you see a red underline, that means it's not installed for you. All right. So anytime you want to connect to the database from Python, you have to have some sort of a library. For Postgres, this is a library. But if you are using MySQL, there is a different library, which is MySQL connector. So if I go to settings, click on this one. There is something called as MySQL connector. Okay, MySQL underscore connector. Fine. Trying to find the name of the library. Maybe it's this guy. Yeah, it's C++. Yeah, depending on the database, there's a separate library. Okay. Every database has its own connector and all that. But you have, if you are working with MySQL, you have to find the appropriate driver and install that. All right. So once I install this library, I'm gonna show you a simple statement how to connect to the database and how to get the data. Okay. All right. So here I'm gonna do. So remember, if I go back to PostgresSQL window, I have select star from film. Okay, so I'm going to take a very simple or maybe language. Okay, so I'm going to select that, select star from language. Okay, and I want to run that using Python. Okay, so I'm going to do this. First, I need to open up a connection object. Okay, so I want to connect. And here I'm going to specify a bunch of parameters, like what is the name of the database, let me just check this time. Connect. It's not connection, but it's connect. Okay. Connect. Okay. All right. You specify the name of the database, username, password, and all that. Okay. Okay. So name of the database is Postgres. You can see here in the top it says Postgres. So that's the name of the database. All right, the meeting is going to end in 10 minutes, but you guys can rejoin. All right. Once I specify what's the name of the database, I also have to specify what is the username password so that the Python can connect to that. Okay. So if I look at this, user equal to password equal to, okay. So in my case, the username is admin and password is also admin. I just set it up just before the class. But usually what happens is we don't put the username password in the Python file. There's another mechanism that we use. But for now, just for the demo purpose, and I put it here. So use that. So when you say connect, it's going to give you a connection object back. Okay, so I'm going to get a connection object back. I'm going to, from the connection object, I can open up a cursor. Okay, so I got a cursor. I can do cursor.execute. So let's start in language. Okay. And remember, in the previous session, we are looking at for loops and all that. Okay. So we say for row in that, and we say print row. Okay, that's it. So 4 lines, and you'll be able to connect to database. You'll get the data and all that. Okay, so I'm going to run this. Let's see, so I'm going to connect it 5432 password authentication failed. Port 5432. I think my database is also running on 5432. That's the authentication failed. Yeah, it's very important to remember the password, but this is what I created just now, which is admin user, and the password is also admin. Interesting. Okay. I'm trying to see if the password is stored on this side. I'm trying to see if the password is stored in the PG admin. You know what? Let me close the PG admin and relaunch it. That should ask me to enter the password, and I can verify that. Hold on 1 second. By the way, in the meanwhile, you guys can run this program, and this should, for you at least, it should connect if username, password, everything is correct, and it should be able to print the information. All right. I'm going to please enter your master password. You know what? I think I'm using the master username password. Let me create a new user. Let me use that. Okay, login, group roles, create login. Okay, so I'm creating a new user. I'm going to create a developer. Putting the same developer. Now it's typing. All right, so I created a new user called developer, and I'm going to use that. Okay, that's fine. At least now so now I'm able to connect to the database, and I got a cursor object. Using the cursor, I'm able to execute. Let me just see what the issue is here. Fetch, cursor.fetch all. All right. Okay, there you go. Hopefully you guys can still see the screen. But yeah, so what I did is I opened up a connection object. So once I open up a connection object, I am able to get a cursor. Think of cursor as something that can loop through the rows. That means it can give me the first row, second row, and so on. Okay. So I'm able to loop through all the rows. So then I'm saying, hey, cursor, execute this statement. This statement is the same as what we were doing before. Okay? Remember all the select statements that we were running? Select star, limit, count, whatever you want to do. Same statement, you can put it here. Okay, and then you can execute that. Okay, so once you execute, and then I'm looping through the results and saying, get me all the rows, fetch all, and print that row. Okay, now let's say you just want the name of the language. Okay, you can do two ways. One is you can do name here. Okay, so this should give me just the name column. Okay, or you can also do star here, and here I can do. So here I got 3 columns. Okay, and I want the second column. I can do this 1. Okay, that means this will give me just the name. Okay, same thing. Okay, there are multiple ways. But yeah, so using Python, what we did is we connected to database, we opened up a cursor, we are looping through the results, and we are printing those results. Very simple, 5 rows, 5 lines of Python code. You can connect, you can get all the data. Okay. Any questions so far? So I'm going to paste this code in the Zoom chat. All right, so let me take a complex query, which was select with joins and all those things. Okay, so if I open this one. Oh, you know what? I actually pasted in the Zoom chat, so let me go to that chat and yeah. Okay. So here we are getting all the movies. This person Penelope acted. Syntax error. Okay, dot film ID.